Welcome back to another episode of Cess Talks Sports, BeWise PoliSports podcast, where we break down the intersection of sports, race, and politics with no filters and no apologies. I'm your host, Cess, your favorite auntie with Uncle Tendencies, and as always, I'm joined by my fabulous co-host, the one and only Political Lil. What's up, Lil?
What's up, Sess? Excited to be here for this conversation today. We're diving into a topic that's long overdue. One of the greatest athletes of all time, a game changer, a cultural icon, and a business mogul, Serena Williams. That's right. Serena isn't just a tennis legend, she's a force. Her impact goes beyond sports. She shaped the way we talk about race, gender, and power in athletics. She also built a global empire, proving that black women in sports are not just competitors, but also leaders, investors, and trendsetters. And despite all that, she remained one of the most polarizing figures in sports history. Why? Because dominance in spaces that weren't built for us always comes with pushback. Serena faced scrutiny from the media, critics, and even the tennis establishment. But through it all, she's never backed down.
Facts. So today we're going to break it all down. How she broke racial barriers in tennis, the stereotypes the media used against her, how she flipped the script and built an empire, and her lasting impact on today's rising stars like Coco Gauff. And we'll also touch on her latest power move, becoming an investor in the WNBA's new team, the Toronto Tempo, plus her recent appearance at the 2025 Super Bowl. Serena's legacy is still being written, and we're here to talk about it all. So let's get into it. Serena Williams, the athlete, the mogul, and the icon. Before she was a 23-time Grand Slam champion, before she was the face of tennis, before the billion-dollar empire, Serena Williams was just a young girl with a racket and a dream growing up in Compton, California. Serena and her older sister Venus were trained by their father, Richard Williams, a man with no formal tennis background. Richard was determined to turn his daughters into champions. He studied the game, crafted their training regimen, and even wrote a 78-page plan for their future success. But this wasn't just about tennis. It was about breaking barriers in the sport where black players were nearly invisible. They trained on public courts, often with worn out equipment, in a neighborhood far removed from the country clubs and elite academies where most tennis stars were groomed. It was an unconventional path, and many doubted whether two young black girls from Compton could even make it in the world of professional tennis.
But Serena and Venus weren't just talented, they were relentless. And when they finally entered the junior tennis circuit, the Williams sisters dominated. But success didn't come without resistance. They faced racism, exclusion, and skepticism from the tennis establishment, parents, and even fellow players. They were outside in the world that wasn't ready for them. A reporter once said the Williams sisters powerful, aggressive, and unorthodox. But do they belong in the sports elite ranks? Serena replied, I always knew I had to be great. I just had to work hard and believe in myself. And that belief paid off. In 1999, at just 17 years old, Serena shocked the world, winning her first Grand Slam at the U.S. Open. She defeated Martina Hingis in straight sets, announcing to the world that a new era had begun. Game, set, match. Serena Williams, the first African American woman to win a Grand Slam since Althea Gibson. That victory wasn't just about the trophy. It was about history. It was about representation. And it was just the beginning. Serena Williams was on her way to rewriting the record book and changing the sport forever.
Serena Williams has not only dominated tennis, but has also had to fight battles beyond the court. One of the most striking aspects of her career has been how the media and the public have perceived and treated her. From the beginning, she was subjected to racial and gender stereotypes that painted her as overly aggressive, too muscular, and not fitting the mold of traditional femininity in tennis. While white female tennis players were often celebrated for their competitiveness, Serena was frequently criticized for her passion and intensity. She was portrayed as intimidating and overly emotional, while her white counterparts were called fiery or tenacious. This double standard is nothing new in sports, but was especially glaring in Serena's case, given her dominance on the court. A perfect example of this was the 2018 U.S. Open final against Naomi Osaka. Serena received multiple code violations, including one for verbal abuse after calling the umpire a thief for docking her a point. The incident blew up, with many in the media painting her as an out-of-control competitor. Meanwhile, male players had engaged in far worse behavior without facing the same level of scrutiny.
Exactly. And that wasn't the first time she face this kind of treatment. Serena was often described using coded language. She was too strong, too powerful, and even scary. These descriptions reinforced the idea that she didn't fit the acceptable mold of womanhood, especially within a sport historically dominated by white athletes. But despite all of this, Serena refused to shrink herself or conform to those outdated standards. She used fashion, like her iconic catsuit, to make statements about her confidence and ownership of her body. She also became more vocal about racial and gender disparities in the sport, forcing a conversation that the tennis world wasn't always comfortable having. And that's how she reclaimed her narrative. Instead of letting the media define her, she defined herself through her play, her interviews, and even her business ventures. Serena made it clear that she was unapologetically herself. That resilience inspired countless black women in sports who saw her as not just a tennis champion, but as a cultural force.
Absolutely. And her legacy isn't just about what she did on the court. It's about how she changed the way we talk about race, gender, and power in sports. That's why she remains such a polarizing figure, but also why she's one of the most influential athletes of all time. Serena Williams' greatness doesn't stop at tennis. She's also built a business empire that's just as dominant as her career on the court. After years of winning Grand Slams, she's transitioned into a powerhouse entrepreneur and investor, making sure her influence extends far beyond sports. And one of the biggest moves she made was launching Serena Ventures, her investment firm. Through it, she's invested in more than 60 companies, focusing on tech, sports, and black owned businesses. She's made it a mission to fund companies led by women and people of color, recognizing how underrepresented they are in venture capital. And it's not just tech and startups. Serena has also made major moves in sports investment. Most recently, she became an owner in the WNBA's Toronto Tempo, one of the newest expansion teams in the league. This is huge, not only for the WNBA's growth, but also for the increasing trend of athlete led ownership in professional sports.
That's right. The Tempo addition to the WNBA marks a significant moment for women basketball, and having Serena involved adds even more legitimacy and visibility. She's long been an advocate for gender equity in sports, and now she's helping shape the future of women basketball as an owner. Her impact is undeniable. Look at how she's influenced other athletes to step into investing in ownership roles. LeBron James, Naomi Osaka, and even Patrick Mahomes have followed similar paths. Serena showed that athletes don't have to wait until retirement to start building wealth in other industries. And she made it clear that it's about more than just money. It's about legacy and empowerment. Whether it's investing in businesses, breaking barriers and ownership, or inspiring the next generation of athletes like Coco Gauff, Serena has changed the game in more ways than one.
Big facts. She's proven that being an athlete isn't just about what you do in competition, it's also about how you use your platform to create lasting change. Serena isn't just a tennis legend, she's a global business mogul who's setting the blueprint for the future of sports and entrepreneurship. When we talk about Serena Williams' legacy, we can't ignore her impact on the next generation of black women in tennis, especially Coco Gauff. From the moment Coco burst on the scene, the comparisons to Serena were inevitable. But more than just a comparison, Serena actively paved the way for her and so many others to thrive in this sport. Serena wasn't just a role model from afar. Her dominance, resilience, and unapologetic approach to the game created space for young black girls to believe that tennis was theirs too. Coco has spoken openly about how Serena was the reason she picked up a racket. And you can see Serena's influence in her confidence, her fight, and even the way she carries herself in the media. And look at what Coco Gauff has accomplished. In 2024, she became the highest paid female athlete in the world, surpassing even Naomi Osaka. That's a direct result of the path Serena carved out. Before Serena, black women in tennis weren't getting these kind of endorsement deals or financial opportunities.
Oh, absolutely. Serena is one of the first female athletes to turn her brand into a powerhouse. She showed that winning on the court wasn't enough. You had to control your own narrative and build partnerships that extended beyond tennis. Now, Coco has followed in her footsteps, landing huge deals with companies like New Balance, Pirelli, and Rolex. And beyond the money, Serena also changed tennis culture. She forced the sport to reckon with its exclusionary past. And now we're seeing more black representation in the game than ever before. From the way young black players embrace their natural hair on the court to how they stand up for themselves in press conferences. It's clear to see that Serena's influence runs deep. The best part is that Coco Golf isn't just following in Serena's footsteps, she's expanding the path. She's speaking out on social issues, advocating for pay equity in sports, and using her voice in a way that Serena helped make possible. This is what true legacy looks like. It's not just about Serena 23 Grand Slams, but about the generation she inspires.
Exactly. And as Coco Golf continues to rise, we'll keep seeing more young black girls believing that they too can be champions. That's the Serena Williams effect, breaking down barriers so that the next generation doesn't just follow her path, but builds their own. Serena Williams may have retired from professional tennis, but her influence is still as powerful as ever. Since stepping away from the sport, she's had time to reflect on everything she's accomplished. And honestly, her legacy speaks for itself. 23 Grand Slam titles, 4 Olympic gold medals, and an undeniable impact on sports, business, and culture. And the best part, retirement hasn't slowed her down one bit. She's still everywhere, from high profile business ventures to making major cultural appearances, like her big moment at the 2025 Super Bowl. Seeing Serena on the stage was a reminder that her presence extends far beyond the tennis world. The Super Bowl is one of the highest, biggest platforms in the world, and her appearance wasn't just about celebrating her legacy, it was about showing that she's still a dominant force in entertainment and branding. She's not just a former athlete, she's a global icon.
Right. And let's not forget how she continues to use her platform for social justice. Even in retirement, she's still a powerful voice in advocating for racial and gender equity in sport. Whether it's calling out disparities in tennis, supporting women's rights, or investing in black owned businesses, she's making sure her impact goes beyond what she did with a racket. That's what makes her legacy so unique. A lot of athletes retire and fade into the background, but Serena is still shaping conversations in sports, business, and social justice. She's proof that an athlete is about more than just winning. It's about changing the game for those who come next. And that's why Serena will always be in the spotlight. Whether she's sitting courtside, making business moves, or standing up for important causes, her presence is always everywhere. She may have stepped off the court, but her influence isn't going anywhere.
Serena Williams didn't just play tennis, she transformed it. And even in retirement, she's still winning. All right, as we wrap up today's episode, let's take a moment to reflect on Serena Williams' incredible impact, not just on the court, but in all areas of life. Serena's dominance in tennis is undeniable, but what makes her legacy truly special is how she broke down barriers. From her resilience in the face of criticism and racism to her unapologetic pride in her black identity. She has become a symbol of strength, excellence, and representation for black women everywhere. Serena didn't just pave the way for future athletes, she's created space for them to thrive in sports and beyond. Her contributions off the court are just as significant. Serena's ventures into business, media, and her activism have not only expanded her influence, but have also shaped conversations around the intersections of race, gender, and economics in sports. She's proven that success in sports can translate into power and opportunities in other industries. Whether it's through her investments, partnerships, or advocacy for women's rights, Serena is demonstrating how athletes can use their platform to drive social change. Serena's legacy means so much for black women in sports. It's about more than just winning titles. It's about shifting narratives, challenging stereotypes, and creating opportunities that were once out of reach. Her journey has inspired countless black women to dream bigger, to not be afraid to take up space, and to fight for their worth. She set a precedence for the next generation of athletes, proving that you don't have to conform to succeed. Her presence in sports and media has redefined what it means to be a black woman in this space. And looking to the future, Serena's influence is far from over. We're seeing her pivot into business, media, and even sports ownership, and it's clear she's just getting started. As the sports industry continues to evolve, Serena will undoubtedly play a crucial role in shaping its future, particularly in areas like women's sports, diversity, and inclusion. I believe she's not just setting herself up to be a mogul, but to also become a powerful voice in shaping how sports are consumed and valued.
Exactly. With her passion, her vision, and her relentless drive, Serena will continue to break barriers. She's not only leaving an indelible mark on tennis, but also on the broader landscape of sports media and business. Her impact will inspire future generations of Black women athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders, showing them that there are no limits to what can be achieved. It's clear that Serena Williams' legacy is just beginning to unfold. We can wait to see how it continues to make waves in all aspects of her career. Thank you for joining me today in the conversation. It's always a pleasure to dive deep into the stories that matter.
Thank you all for tuning in today and for being part of this critical conversation. Together, we can make a difference. We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. Share your insights with us on social media, leave a comment, or send us feedback. If you enjoyed today's discussion, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and share this episode with your friends, family, and community. Let's keep the conversation going on social media. Amplify the conversation around equity and leadership in sports, and tell us what were your takeaways. What inspired you? Tag us and let us know. And before we sign off, remember, representation matters. Stay tuned for more Cess Talks Sports, BeWise PoliSports podcast episodes. Up next, we're going to look at the threat of Black women disrupting the power structure. And last but not least, remember, sports are never just about the game. It's about the stories we tell and the change we create. It's up to everyone within the sound of my voice to be a change agent. Until next time, stay wise and stay engaged. Stay tuned. Talk soon. We out.